Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. I I'm here. I showed up and I'm on time. Wow. Okay, that's it. That's a wrap. Anyway, I think tonight will go a little bit easier as far as news goes. Right. Yeah. So anyway, um, it seems like I definitely didn't get the day that I expected necessarily. Because I really did think that today was going to be a crazy day with news. Perhaps, I hate to even think this, but perhaps the news was postponed until tomorrow. There's just a whole hell of a lot of stuff going on. And there are some key things that I've been kind of keeping an eye on. And all day they've been kind of mum's the word on stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what turns out. I had an interesting let's see, where is it? I've got articles up here. I've got an interesting article about the cat, by the way, that supposedly is the one that provided the leaks, the Pentagon leaks. Supposedly that cat's been arrested. So I've got that, and it just the stuff that came out in those leaks is just incredible. I mean, it is, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. The level of detail, from my understanding of the different things that was released, is just unreal. And I mean, it's causing Ukraine to have to completely put a halt on their plans, and I guess they're going to have to draw up completely different plans. It's also revealed a lot of stuff around the individuals that are over there in Ukraine that are actually boots on the ground. This has really put a lot of different situations under a lot of tension. And so that's what I'm kind of watching, because there's a lot of different players in this. A lot of different nations involved, a lot of different, politicians from different countries involved in these leaks. And this could turn ugly before it's all said and done. But they claim to have gotten and captured the leaker, thanks to New York Times, the rat bastards. One thing that you do not do give up your source. You don't. Absolutely not. And New York Times, they just folded right over. There's a reason why people are allowed to remain anonymous when it comes to stuff like this. Now, this, I would imagine, is just a outright violation. This isn't, it's one thing if it was something like Edward Snowden, who was whistleblowing. This isn't whistleblowing. This is an absolute, this is an absolute criminal act. There's no two ways about it. But still, rat bastards. I mean, really? So New York Times rolled over on them. Other than that, just got the typical stuff that's been in the news pretty much. In fact, actually, I omitted a lot of stuff that has been in the news. I don't have tons of stuff on the economy and all that tonight. It's in headlines, But yeah, how many nights in a row do you need to hear about that nonsense? So I've got 7 tabs open tonight. I'm trying to go on a diet from the last couple of nights. So I've got 7 tabs open and another one up there. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I've got breaking news for you. This is monumental breaking news. Right here on the Watchman News. Pentagon seeks to plug intelligence leaks. Oh man, that joke only worked halfway because I didn't have you brought over. Pentagon seeks to plug intelligence leaks. I'm just not gonna hold my breath because there's nothing intelligent about the Pentagon at this point. Anything else really I gotta add before I get doing this? Nope. Just had a busy day beta testing and enjoying that. Other than that, it's not nice to be out in the sun. Might actually get a farmer tan or something going on. Anyway, it's nice being outside, and it's been nice. It's been gorgeous weather for being out there, so that helps for sure. Other than that, can't think anything. Gonna get started on my shed repair project here soon that I actually intended to do, a couple of years ago. So, gonna get it done, and I'll see what I can get as far as that of how I do it and all that good stuff. I'll try to videotape it. I have no idea how well that or how bad that's going to turn out. So, other than that, can't really think of anything. Let's see. All right. Let me bring you on over. Let me grab a sip of coffee here. When I saw this, I was like, holy hell. Not good. I mean, don't get me wrong. This isn't like the very edge of technology here. But damn. Well, pun not intended. U.S. smart bombs miss Russian targets, says Pentagon leak. They probably really didn't want Russia to know about that. Pentagon officials have reportedly expressed concern that U.S.-produced smart bombs provided to Ukraine are being electronically jammed by Russian forces, causing them to miss their targets. Now, folks, remember, I've been saying all this time to the individuals that have this notion that they're going to take on their own government, that unless you do it technologically, you're just cannon fodder, because they've got JDAMs. Do you got JDAM jammers? I doubt it. You probably need JDAM jammers, so get on it. Probably the men's clothing section. Just look for something plaid or whatever. Yeah, just get some pajamas. That'll do it. That'll confuse the hell out of it, and you'll be fine. Anyway, this here says the precision-guided bombs, which are among the increasingly advanced weaponry that Washington has been providing to Kiev, have been rendered useless by Russian jamming tactics, Politico reported on Wednesday, citing leaked Pentagon documents. The U.S. media outlet added that an unidentified Pentagon official confirmed the authenticity of the documents. Now, I got a question. Hold up. So, not a long time ago, I mean, we can put the once upon a time on it if we must, but once upon a time, the media shilled for the United States government. Once upon a time, there was a virus that was going around the nation, and they had everybody whipped up in fear for multiple years. Once upon a time. So let me ask you this, and I'm asking them, really. If you shilled for the government and lied for them and ran fronts for them for years on all of that, how am I supposed to trust that you are actually honestly reporting on this stuff? Why the hate, bro? Well, why are you hating on Biden and crew now? I'm not sure that that a lot of this stuff, when it comes to the details that is getting released, I'm not sure of a lot of its accuracy. Now, here's the thing. Could the media, and this is possible, just throwing this out there, could the U.S. media be running cover? Again? No, they wouldn't do that again, would they? So, listen up. So, if the U.S., through its media outlets, puts out false information about those documents, if all this information that they're releasing, telling us about, is actually misinformation, because they may or may not be aware of just how much of the real information that Russia might have a hold of. See what I'm saying? I'm just trying to figure out why U.S. media would be even remotely interested in doing anything that would possibly harm their lovely golden government. Probably not a lot of people asking that question. I feel like it's probably important to, because, you know, it's been duck, 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 duck. I'm really not expecting a goose at this point. Coffee. It's just so damn good, and it's pretty hot, so I can't gulp it. Chinese carrier killer missile worries U.S., says WAPO. Another well-trusted source of propaganda. A new Chinese missile may be able to reach the Pacific island of Guam, making it more difficult for U.S. forces based there to intervene on behalf of Taiwan, a Washington Post columnist claimed on Thursday. The article cited an overlooked revelation in one of the classified documents leaked from the Pentagon. China is quickly improving its capacity to strike thousands of miles from its shores and prevent the United States from intervening, wrote Josh Rogan, citing the conclusions of the U.S. intelligence agencies. The document Rogan is referring to is a report by the Joint Chiefs of Staff Intelligence Directorate, marked top secret and dated February 28th. It briefs the generals on the February 25th test of the new hypersonic intermediate-range ballistic missile dubbed the DF-17, or Dongfeng, or East Wind. I like Dongfeng better. Dongfeng. The briefing says that the DF-17, you know, the Dongfeng, has a high probability of penetrating, of course, because that's what Dongfengs do, U.S. missile defenses, and is designed to reach targets beyond the second island chain, a Pentagon term for a line in the Pacific stretching from Japan to New Guinea. Hey, if they're going to make our Our failures, funny, we'll take it. The test involved a missile traveling a distance of 2,100 kilometers or 1,305 miles over 12 minutes. But a 2021 Pentagon assessment believes DF-17 may have a range of up to 8,000 kilometers or 4,970 miles. The new missile also has hypersonic glide capability, making it a better carrier killer than its predecessors, Rogan noted. So the missile that China shot off that made the Pentagon crap their pants, that's the missile that we're talking about. Dongfeng. That is the missile that they tested that the United States was like, holy shit. Yeah, we have no clue how they were able to manage doing what they did. And I don't know the details because the Pentagon didn't call me up and tell me. But I'm assuming it was something about the way that it maneuvered or something that put the fear in the Pentagon. And, they talk, and, it was something that's been discussed. It was in the news and everything else just about how set back they were by it. That's what I've been saying, and Russia's got a proven system that he's already been deploying, hypersonic system he's been using in Ukraine. North Korea's had, I believe, multiple, like 2 or 3, I think, successful hypersonic tests at this point. I'm positive of 2. I don't know if there was a third or not. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, this is just, I believe this is just more information from the documents, and I'll tell you what, it's really not good. If this is the information as it was put in the documents, it is not good for these other nations to be hearing about this. Not good at all. A stalemate will force Ukraine to enact full mobilization, says media. Here says the U.S. believes that neither Ukraine nor Russia will achieve major gains on the battlefield this year, and that the ensuing stalemate will force Kiev to call up every last available man to fight, according to leaked Pentagon documents cited by the Washington Post. The U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency views both Kiev and Moscow as having insufficient troops and supplies for effective operations, and as such predicts that the conflict in Ukraine will drag on into 2024, with both sides achieving only marginal territorial gains this year, the newspaper reported on Wednesday. Nevertheless, negotiations to end the conflict are unlikely, the agency reportedly wrote in its assessment, which was included in a trove of leaked documents. The Post and a number of newspapers have published information from some of these documents while simultaneously helping the government track down the suspected leaker, who was arrested by the FBI on Thursday after the New York Times ratted him out. So, again, I will reiterate what I said, that the information, or at least some, or hell, maybe all of the details of the information that they are giving us in these reports, could itself be propaganda. Because, again, if they don't know for sure what's out there and what's not, the heck? It was a Boeing 737-8H4. Fun times going to New York, LaGuardia Airport. I heard a jet flying over. It sounded kind of low. 17,000 feet. Not really low, but it was a little noisy. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, I was actually done with this one. I don't know that I believe this assessment. I really don't. I don't think that this will. I doubt that this war will even go into the fall. I don't. I think it'll be wrapped up by the end of summer. Just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. I don't think many other countries are going to sit there and play footsies any longer. Let's see. Right on, Aceman. Yeah, this was just a commercial jet, but we do have Scott Air Force Base not far from here, so once in a while you'll hear a large aircraft leaving from there. Let's see. FBI arrests alleged Pentagon leaker. This is what I was telling you about. Says here, armed FBI agents have arrested a 21-year-old military reservist believed to be behind the leaking of classified Pentagon briefings, including on the conflict in Ukraine. The government was assisted in its manhunt by the same media organizations that published the contents of the files. Attorney General Merrick Garland confirmed the arrest of Jack Teixeira, I'm not sure how you say that name, on Thursday afternoon, shortly after the FBI announced that its agents had conducted an authorized law enforcement activity at his home in North Dayton, Massachusetts. Earlier on Thursday, the New York Times identified Teixeira as the figure responsible for posting hundreds of classified military documents on a Discord server where the paper said about 20 to 30 people, mostly young men and teenagers, came together over a shared love of guns, racist online memes, and video games. Now, I think that there could be a little propaganda mixed in there. I'm not sure if there's anything that kind of just pokes out there that just might have been thrown in there. But Teixeira, a member of the intelligence wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard, reportedly came across the documents while in work. The documents were then posted on the wider internet by some of the group's members and reported on by the mass media. Although the New York Times published a number of stories based on the files, it opted not to protect its source and instead outed Teixeira after partnering with open-source intelligence outfit Bellingcat to identify him. Bellingcat is funded by multiple Western states and has a history of working on investigations that suit the policy priorities of the U.S. government. The files posted online by Teixeira revealed that the U.S. and NATO special forces are active in Ukraine, that Ukrainian casualties are higher than publicly acknowledged by U.S. officials, that Kiev's forces are low on ammunition, and that the U.S. has spied on its allies throughout the conflict. Other documents in the collection contained sensitive material related to Ukraine, China, the Middle East, and terrorism. I don't think so. Don't the military have its own people to investigate its own peoples? I thought. I kind of thought, now that you mention it, I kind of thought that, yeah, I didn't think the FBI could. I could be wrong on that, but I kind of thought that was outside of their jurisdiction. I'd have to look into that. This here just goes on to say they didn't confirm or deny anything, blah, blah, blah. And then White House asked U.S. media not to publish any damaging revelations from the leak. Yeah, and it says mainstream outlets have mostly complied with the Washington Post joining the New York Times in attempting to track down the source instead. Right? So here's the thing. They said that they didn't publish anything damaging. But look at all the information that they published. So think about that. They said the media is working with them and have agreed not to publish anything damaging and in fact help catch the guy. Do you think the information they're putting out is accurate? I'm not saying it's necessarily inaccurate, but I'm saying I think the details are probably skewed, especially when it comes to things like the offensive that they were planning. Bob was going to go meet Tom at the corner of Main Street. What? I'm planning out the war. What? It has to start somewhere. Bob and Tom will. Explosion kills 18,000 cows. You know it's got to be said, right? Holy cow. I mean, 18,000 cows. A hell of a lot of holy cows. Damn, this is crazy. How's this even happen? An explosion at a Texas farm on Monday resulted in a massive fire that led to the deaths of a staggering 18,000 cows. Local officials have described the loss as the biggest single incident death of cattle in the U.S. in recorded history. County Judge Mandy, how in the hell do you say a name that goes G-F? Okay, I think I got it. Giller. Okay, I think I got it. Told USA Today that the explosion at the South Fork Dairy Farm near the city of Dimmitt may have been caused by a faulty piece of farm equipment. She added that local fire officials. I got a scratch in my record. Local fire officials are still investigating. The dairy farm had reportedly opened in the area just over 3 years ago and employed 50 to 60 people. There were no human casualties in the fire, and only one person was injured. He was taken to the hospital where he's reported to be in a critical but stable condition as of Tuesday. Gefeller stated that most of the 18,000 cows that perished were located in a large holding pen waiting to be milked when the fire broke out. The animals represented about 90% of the farm's total herd, according to the official. She noted that each cow was valued at roughly $2,000, meaning South Fork dairy losses in livestock could amount to tens of millions of dollars, even before equipment and structural damage are included. You're looking at a devastating loss, Gefeller said. My heart goes out to each person involved in that operation. An associate of the Animal Welfare Institute, a Washington-based advocacy group, has claimed that the incident easily surpasses all records since it began tracking barn and farm fires in 2013. The previous record was established in 2020 when a fire at an upstate New York dairy farm killed some 400 cows. Oh, hang on. Not that long ago, I remember watching a video from M.D. Creekmore, and his neighbor's barn was on fire. And And I don't know. I have suspicions, but it sounded like guns going off just pretty much non-stop in the background. I hate to think about it, but I assume that they were probably trying to put animals out of their misery. Is what I assume they were probably trying to do. That's insane. Absolutely insane. It says state and dairy officials are conflicted on how to deal with the task of cleaning up the 18,000 charred carcasses, while the Texas Commission on Environment Quality provides certain guidelines on burying animals, such as placing them at least 15 meters from any water wells. It does not account for mass graves, USA Today noted. Dimmitt's mayor, Roger Malone, told the outlet that although he's taken emergency management courses that teach how to dispose of animal carcasses after a disaster, he has never had to apply it to such a large scale. How do you dispose of 18,000 carcasses? That's something you just don't run into very much, he said. So, it's just insanity. Yeah, no, I agree. There is no way. And how's that even happen? Right? Do they like every 5 feet? Is it like necessary every 5 feet in the barn or something to store like a 5-gallon can of gas or something? How in hell? I know, I get straw, hay, I get all that. Man, I don't know. I don't know. That's insane. That's insane. I don't know. It just keeps hit after hit after hit on our food supply. Now, I don't know how large of an area a farm like that services, but I would imagine it's pretty considerable. Everybody in that area is going to be paying high prices for a little bit. Maybe not just a little bit. Yikes. That's why I'm not a real big fan of these big companies doing this, these big factory farming corporations and stuff like that. It is not a bright idea to put all those eggs in so few baskets, because that is what happens. Let's see. Thought there was something about him in there. I guess not. I'll get to it in a moment. What the hell is that? Okay. Anyway, just insanity. It never stops. Never stops. Another U.S. media outlet quits Twitter. PBS decided to join NPR in leaving Twitter. Apparently, there was room left over in the safe space, and they had an extra safety pin. So PBS probably clipped on the safety pin and went and sat down next to NPR in the safe space. So J.P. Morgan execs joked and warned about Epstein's pedophilia. Says a lawsuit. We just can't get anywhere with this, though, right? You guys can like have all these little lawsuits back and forth, and you can arrest Ghislaine Maxwell and all that, but for some reason, nobody anywhere in the entire justice system thinks that it's important to reveal the names of the individuals on that list. Not one. Not a single one. So when they tell you about just a few bad apples in government, mind pointing out which ones those are for me? Because there's quite a few. Apparently, there's quite a few. North Korea announces new type of weapon. Well, and that's just it, Hexafoods. Their names are probably on it. And you know as well as I do their names are on it. That's why it's not been released. You know, that's the thing. I think that's what Epstein's job was. I think Epstein's main job was to get powerful people, get just different people in different positions, whether it be big corporations, whether it be government, basically get them involved in pedophilia and then getting evidence of that pedophilia so that it could be held over their heads and they could get them to do anything that they wanted them to. And I'd bet my life that that's how that was working out. And I don't think we'll ever know. Coffee. Wore my Timberland boots again today. Oh, those things are incredibly comfortable. It's amazing what working them in and all of that good stuff does. At first, when I got them, you know, and I got the wide, they didn't have like XXXXX wide or nothing, but I got the wide, and it just, wasn't happening. It was real scrunchy in the toes. Well, like I said, I worked with it over time and eventually got them. I mean, they're just, man, those things are so soft and comfortable. I mean, don't get me wrong, the leather's not like saturated with oil, so it's not like that or nothing. It's just it's much softer than they were. So I gotta wipe them off and re-oil them because they're all dusty right now. Alright, I guess I could do this. I mean, I'm here. North Korea announces new type of weapon. North Korea has claimed that its latest missile test verified the effectiveness of a newly developed intercontinental ballistic missile that will greatly enhance its nuclear counterattack posture and help strike its extreme uneasiness and horror in its enemies. The new solid-fuel Hwasong 18 was successfully test-launched on Thursday, with all three stages safely landing in waters off the country's eastern coast. North Korea's government said on Friday in a statement through state-run broadcaster Voice of Korea, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un guided the launch on site and praised the new ICBM as further proof that the country's ever-increasing defense technological might. Thursday's test initially triggered air raid warnings in Japan until authorities confirmed that the missile posed no threat to the northern island of Hokkaido. Pyongyang said the ICBM's first stage was set on a standard trajectory, while the second and third stages flew in a high-angle mode in consideration of the safety of the neighboring countries. The test firing made it possible to have the guarantee and confidence that all the elements of the new type strategic weapon system have correctly reached the requirements of the designs, and the new type ICBM is a powerful strategic offensive means of greater military utility, the statement said. Kim added that the Hwasong-18 will strengthen North Korea's strategic arsenal, enabling the country to respond to nukes with nukes and a total confrontation with total confrontation. Pyongyang has conducted 9 missile tests this year amid escalating tensions with South Korea. Kim's government warned last week that Seoul's joint military exercises with U.S. forces has pushed the peninsula to the brink of a nuclear war. The two Koreas technically remain at war, having ended, and it just goes into the history that you know. Let's see. Kim said his government will force North Korea's enemies to clearly understand the crisis of security, making them regret their wrong choice in despair. As a solid fuel ICBM, the Hwasong-18 can be prepared for launch more quickly than a liquid fuel missile, making it more difficult to detect and intercept. Pyongyang didn't disclose the new missile's range. The country's previous generation ICBM, the Hwasong-17, was billed as a monster missile that reportedly could travel as far as 15,000 kilometers or 9,320 miles. Pyongyang is about 11,000 kilometers away from Washington. So, I'm pretty sure that if Little Rocket Man, oh, come on, I need backup. Doesn't sound right without the backup. Anyway, if Little Rocket Man wanted to get one in on the U.S., I'm pretty sure he's not going to poke one in the air from North Korea. I'm pretty sure he's going to take one of his subs and he's going to be right around the United States somewhere, and you're going to plop them into the air. Why? Because that's what you do. You don't launch them from across the planet. Not if you don't have to. I mean, still have an issue with a hypersonic one, especially if it's hypersonic with MIRV payload, the multiple warheads. Yeah, that would suck. Like 12 or 14 or something, I don't know. Warheads fit in that damn thing. Yikes. Okay. Another drink of coffee, just because, you know. China calls out U.S. over intelligence leaks. Top importer of Russian vodka named. Not me. Italy greenlights sale of Russian refinery, says Reuters. Well, that's mighty nice of them. Alleged mastermind behind military blogger's murder identified. Russia blasts U.S. over treatment of Lavrov. U.S. hawk touts grand strategy to counter Russia and China. EU country weaning off Russian energy, says an official. Oh, be quiet, I'm almost done. UK newspaper removes interview with Russian ambassador. Swiss banks issue warning to Russian taxpayers, says RBK. Apple and Samsung divided on Russian imports. Kiev outraged over Pentagon leaks, says Politico. Let's see. Ukrainian opera house fires unpatriotic chief conductor. U.S. dollar forecast to lose global dominance. See, I told you I just didn't bring up any of the economy stuff. WAPO makes claim over source of Pentagon leaks. Ukraine's Naftogaz claims $5 billion legal victory over Russia. Ukraine's corruption put wrench in grain deal, says Moscow. Luxury giant headquarters stormed by pension protesters. CIA director concedes U.S. power is waning. School shooter gets life in prison. UN seeking to reconnect some... thought I was hitting stuff. Where was I at? UN seeking to reconnect some Russian banks to SWIFT, says spokesman. Black Sea will never become NATO Sea, says Kremlin. Bloomberg adds AI chatbot to terminal. EU may return Russian assets to Moscow, says Welt. Let's see. New York mayor appoints rat czar. Yes, because New York needs a rat czar. I mean, I don't know why they don't just sick the robots, the robot dogs on the rats. I mean, that would be kind of entertaining, right? Give them a 50 cal strapped to their back and let them go rat hunting. That ought to be fun. Put that on pay-per-view. Russia's reserves surged past $600 billion. New York Times outs alleged Pentagon leaker. I told you about that earlier. Musk pushes Twitter into finance. World faces most dangerous period of time in history, says Trump. Biden administration takes abortion battle to the Supreme Court. Right after his ice cream. Another U.S. media outlet quits Twitter. Oh, I talked about that briefly. Let's see. FBI arrests alleged Pentagon. Oh, I talked about that. Damn. Germany greenlights Soviet-made fighter jets for Ukraine. Oh, this is important. Imposter cat held up in drug bust. That's the news of the day there. White House says racism costs the U.S. $16 trillion since 2000. Last 23 years, racism has cost the U.S. $16 trillion. Wow. Wow. You know what I see when I look at that number? I see that we've already gave Ukraine a whole shit ton more than that in less than a year. So when we can talk about that, then we can talk about 16 trillion in the last 23 years. Pentagon leaks accuse China of arming Russia, says Washington Post. Let's see. Republicans seek to defund anti-Trump DA. Musk announces new Twitter monetization tool. Let's see, read that and that. EU nation to destroy 1,500-ton haul of Ukrainian grain. EU goes after ChatGPT. Murdered tech exec knew his attacker, says police. German FM goes to China to counter Macron, says Politico. And that's it. That is it. Thank goodness I am done for the week. I have a feeling tomorrow's going to be a busy day, so keep an eye out tomorrow on the news. It could get a little stupid. So, anyway, I am going to get out of here and go sleepy. It's been a busy day, so I've been up and running around from the get-go pretty much. Pardon me. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to try to get done. Didn't quite get it all done. There was one job I did miss getting done, but I'll get that done tomorrow. So anyway, I will talk to you all Cat Sunday, unless something big comes up. And God willing, we'll be here then, and I hope to see you. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.